Welcome, everybody, to the FARR Beyond Podcast. I'm Scott.
Micah.
And we're here with the FARR Beyond. We're so glad you guys could join us once again. We want to thank you for being a part of our show. Whether you're watching the replay, and we go live on Fridays at 2, like every other Friday at 2, and then we do the replay on Monday nights at 7. But you can watch it anytime because it's out there on YouTube. It's on Facebook. All we ask is that you like the show, you share it with your friends, and you certainly subscribe to the channel. That's what we ask. And if you like the show, definitely share it. If you don't like it, share it and find out how you're wrong and that you should like it.
What do all the YouTubers say? Smash that like button.
Yeah, smash that like button. And
how? Who's smashing? Why?
I don't know. But they should smash.
Yeah, but it's not like a button. Like you can smash a button.
It's like Hulk smash and everything.
Smash with your thumb.
I just want to make sure that we're good. We're good.
Oh, Is this thing on?
Is this thing on? Just want to make sure. We don't have anybody tuning in yet, but when they tune in and they don't see any, welcome to the mime.
This is the mime show. This is what we're gonna.
Micah.
That reminds me of an old joke.
What?
If a tree falls in the woods and it lands on a mime, would anyone care? Okay, moving on. No offense, Marcel Marceau.
Marcel Marceau. He actually, in the silent movie, he was the only one who had any lines.
Hey-oh!
Marcel Marceau in a movie called The Silent Movie. At the very end, he said something. I think he said goodbye or something at the very end of the movie. It's the only one. They took the world's greatest mime and turned him
into the speaking part. That was the irony. But also, if you ever saw the great Marcel Marceau, unbelievable. Unbelievable.
It's a lost art. Mimes are a lost art. There are some places. There's some places you go to amusement parks where they have mimes and they're kind of fun and stuff. But that was a whole art. And the box.
That makes the joke. But the real ones, unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like anything, And I think that's kind of what we're talking a little bit today. We're talking a little arts and recovery. And
we want to talk about that. The first thing we want to talk about is thanking everybody who had anything to do with, and especially those who showed up at the barbecue.
The barbecue
last weekend.
First and super, super successful. Thank you. We had nearly or over 300 people. We were hoping to get 100. Folks kept coming and ate and hung out and played and just were together. And it was 6,000 degrees.
I mean, we were looking at over 100, and then we started saying, okay, now there's 200 coming.
Yep.
And then people beyond that kept coming. Staff as well. Let's not forget them. The incredible job that they did. If you weren't there, we held it on the surface of the sun.
We did. It was we thought we'd get into the whole solar flare thing by going directly there.
Wow. God, it was hot.
It was warm. Woo!
There was just enough of a breeze so that people weren't passing out.
Right.
And there was plenty of water. Mm-hmm. I think they made water runs to make sure.
We made some water runs, get the coolers full.
But nobody ever went without something to drink, water. There was plenty of food. Everybody ate. And
people went home with food.
People went home with food, brought food back to sober livings and sober households. It was just a beautiful thing to see.
Absolutely. Our 3 RCCs were there. We had the hub was there. Fellowship came out of Palm Beach County. Fellowship out of Broward County, and Right Life out of the Treasure Coast.
Wow!
So that was the first time to have all 3 of our RCC networks. Our brothers and sisters from Rebel were not able to make it. They had a staffing thing, but they were there in spirit, and so we had. That's what it's all about, coming together and Scott, you were saying earlier too, it's one thing to talk recovery. It's something just to say, hey, just come out and have a good time. This is what it's all about. Get together, have fun.
It was to see well over, right around that 300 mark of a mixture of recovery lengths too.
Yeah.
We saw people there with a lot of time, 30 years plus 40 years. And then we saw people with 30, 40 minutes. I mean, it was
exactly.
It was damn near that. It was such a beautiful thing to see everybody come together. And you know what? It was everybody underneath the huge pavilion in the shade, sitting to eat and drinking soda and water. Even brought coffee for people because, hey, Can't have. You got to have coffee.
You know, even when it's 100 degrees, I like 130-degree beverage.
That's actually there's a logic to that.
There is.
I always drink hot coffee if it's really hot outside. You raise your interior temperature, your exterior feels cooler. If you cool your interior temperature, your exterior feels hot. So it's an old Chinese thing. But you will dehydrate if you drink too much coffee. So drink water.
Science.
Drink water. Science.
But it is true that if you drink too cold of water when it's really hot out, you should drink room temperature water. Because if you have cold water, your body's working harder to warm it up.
That's true. And you get cramp. You can cramp up. You could have a lot of things can happen. You get headaches.
I am no anything. I know nothing.
we know nothing.
But that's something that somehow, I think it was my gym teacher taught me that.
I think one of the things Micah and I have learned in our years of experience in all different life things, it's okay to be wrong. Just be wrong with conviction.
Wrong.
And
Just
you're always good
about that.
We're confident in our wrongness.
Yes.
But great event. Thank you to everybody who participated. And if you missed out, that's okay. Another one's coming
We're
soon.
doing it again.
We're going to do it again, and we're going to do it again, and we're going to do it again. When something like that works and you see the miracle of what happened that day, in all of that heat and with all of the things kind of going against us, everybody showed up anyway. And we had the time of our lives. It was a great time. I was dying, DJing and doing that stuff. And you were running around, running the games and helping people and organizing. And then you even had time at the very end, which we're going to mix that up next year or next time. But at the very end, you were up there with the band.
Band playing.
And who was up there with you?
That was Al Johnson. If you don't know Al is our assistant state's attorney for Palm Beach County and a professional musician for years and years before he ever went to law school. And that was Dr. Jay Kuchera, one of the leading anesthesiologists in the region, also an advocate for in the opioid crisis and just an incredible person and a ridiculous guitarist in the String Assassins. And then I was playing bass. I were having a blast. It was great to get up and play, and I hadn't played in a long time. Former in John Greco band and other things I've been playing a long time. But as we know, that's one of the great things. So we want to emphasize that more next time.
Absolutely.
And hats off to Scott for doing an amazing job DJing, and it was really cool because 90% of the folks there were singing along with 90% of the songs.
Well, yeah,
which is pretty awesome.
And I didn't play any new stuff.
No.
I wasn't out there playing, even though there was young kids. I found kind of that sweet spot
it was amazing.
Motown and classic rock and other things that kind of really lent itself. And I had a lot of people coming up saying, "I haven't heard that song in forever."
Exactly. And those songs. Here's the thing: if you're having a barbecue, if you're having everyone, no matter what, you may not remember the lyrics, the beat, the tunes, they keep it moving. There isn't you play that music and it's not like all of a sudden you get like that beat got weird, that lyric. What? It's like,
there's something about it when you get into the, when you start playing things like Earth, Wind and Fire, you play things like, obviously the Beatles and different things, but they just mix it up to me, having a good time. I saw people dancing while they were in line for food. And
that little, I know that one. I know that one.
I know that.
I love that.
Oh my! And I haven't heard that in forever. Oh,
that's
my
right.
God! And so it was pretty cool. Hey, Judy's a friend of mine, Judy Sweeney's with us, and Judy, thanks for joining us today. She's a huge fan of the local music scene.
Nice.
She's one of those people that she's always around checking out local music. Knows a lot of the local musicians. Judy, you're awesome. Thank you for being here with us today. But if you want to leave a comment, we're going to see it and we can talk to you right here on the air.
Yeah.
And by the way, I'm just going to let everybody know, if you have any comments that you'd like to just send, you can send it to me at scott@soberlifestudios.com. You can email me, scott@soberlifestudios.com, with questions about the show. If you want to be on the show, if you have a topic you'd like us to cover. Again, we talk about things about recovery. We talk about mental health. We're really all about solutions on this show. We'll certainly talk about problems, but we're not going to sit here and talk about, this is all horrible, unless we got something positive to put on it as well.
Yeah.
It's important. There's been a lot of times when you end up with, you watch people talk about things like addictions, things like mental health issues, and all of that. And it's just like, so this sucks and that sucks and that sucks, but nobody offers solutions.
Right.
we're constantly looking, right? And that's part of what RCOs are doing. They're looking for solutions within the community.
That's it. I was this morning, I was speaking in Wellington. So shout out to, oh gosh, I can't remember the name of it. It sounded like Hub. It begins with a B. It's a business incubating group out in Wellington. Great energy. And it was like all kinds of good things that came together. They had me come out to do a naloxone training, which was great.
Oh, wow.
This is business community, right? So when we're talking about the community, we talk about all these areas of the community. Remember, the business community is huge because guess where do people work? And they are really interested because, this is an issue that affects all families, all communities. And think of the business community. So the more they knew, they were great questions. They all took naloxone. So when they left, we did the official training, right? So they all had that training. I probably had 10 requests to do further speaking. Look, we've done the whole out in Wellington in the past. We've done their entire Parks and Rec and City staff team. So, I mean, these communities are taking it seriously. But they also were curious about, hey, tell us more about these recovery community centers. Tell us more about if we have employees, how can we plug them into support? So I'm like, yes, this is exactly what we're talking about. And it was a really cool event too. It was at the Wellington Green Mall. They have a public space there that they've opened up for community events. And I was like, this is what a great way to put all this stuff together. So shout out to Sandy Collier, who helped put that on, who does PR stuff for all of us. And she's great. And the group out in Wellington, fantastic. So that was one piece. And the other piece I really wanted to thank the community on this past Tuesday. We were at today's Friday, right?
Today's Friday.
This week's been crazy.
Thank goodness, by the way.
Woo! Three-day weekend for most of you out there. But we our Board of County Commissioners in Palm Beach County. I'll say it on camera. I've never been more proud of a governing body in my life.
Really?
To see how they have come out in support of this recovery-centric, this recovery-oriented system of care, what they're doing to push back on kind of the old way of doing things versus let's be creative and innovative. The impact this issue has had on their lives, their loved ones, their families. It got pushed to the end of the day. So we had a huge crowd there to support this. So this is the work of the advisory committee, the recommendations for the opioid settlement dollars up in Palm Beach County. Incredible work that's been done, literally led by the community. So that was presented to the Board of County Commissioners, and there were some things in there that sort of kind of, in there that may, weren't as community focused. Well, they went at it. They're questioning it. They're asking. It's like, and it was strange because everybody's tired. It was like, everybody's been in the chambers for like 8.5 hours after hearing exciting things about building and zoning and, God bless the commissioners. But anyways, it was weird. It was emotional. It was almost intimate in the chamber. It was, I've never witnessed anything like that, but what came out of it to see from bottom up with what the community has come up with to top down, what our elected officials are supporting and literally understanding it from the grassroots level. They're great. And I know this is happening in Broward. I know that our friends in Miami-Dade are working on these same things and other places too. Hillsborough County, other counties as well. Our friends up in the Northeast in Jacksonville, we're putting it together on the Space Coast, Treasure Coast. This is happening statewide in Florida. And, but I was so proud of the whole community that day. And it was just unbelievable. So this is an all-in approach. And again, seeing the business community today, we got our faith-based leaders that are coming out. It's just really, and again, it kicked off with like barbecue. It sounds so silly. It's like that bout of fun, but just seeing what everybody does together and then having everybody understand from the complex issues of what we're dealing with all the way down, just, just getting together and having fun and eating burgers and playing music.
Jeez.
That's what it's all about.
Listening you speak about this is showing up here and working with businesses and companies, community leaders, and dealing with.
Absolutely.
We all have a responsibility in
right.
this. The days of dealing with addiction or dealing with mental health is kind of a private issue. It's not a private issue because it involves our communities. It involves our healthcare system. It involves our the safety of our streets. It involves crime in our communities. It involves certainly the very life of some people. We're all responsible. I was able to do a talk for the LA Tribune as one of the leaders, and we had 100 leaders from throughout the United States do these mini talks. It was a full week long, pretty much a leadership conference. And I was able to go on and speak. And I wasn't there to speak about being a leader in business. I said, if you're going to be a leader, be a leader.
Yeah.
And lead your communities and lead the people that you care about and help them. It's a responsibility we have. And I think we're seeing more of that with community involvement and awareness with these problems.
That's right.
And it's something that goes back to the old days when there was a problem in the community. Everybody gathered at the church. We all talked about it. We all worked together. We fixed it.
Had a potluck dinner. Got everybody fed.
Dinner. Yeah. Yeah. And it wasn't just the Amish communities.
Right.
Let's build Johann a new house. It wasn't just that.
Wait a minute. That's how we could get new housing. Amish.
But that's it. Bring the Amish. But those principles that we used to have were a community, and they came up with this thing right when they came out with it takes a community to raise a child. It takes a village to raise a child.
Yep.
When they came out with that is when villages stopped being involved with each other.
That's right.
That's kind of like, okay, we created a great slogan, but we no longer do it.
Right. Where's the village?
We're coming back, and we're seeing that. So being at those things is especially good. I'm not just there talking to a mental health community or an addiction community. I'm talking to the community.
Right.
As RCOs, are they out there connecting those things? Are they taking resources from communities and connecting them with the recovery people?
Yes, absolutely. And that's the secret sauce. And by the way, it takes a while to warm it all up, right? You get going and you start building. What is it though? You got to build one relationship at a time. One relationship leads to another. It opens another door. And, it's organic. It's not, you don't just, throw your poster up and say, here we are, come on in. It's like, no, you got to go out, meet people where they're at, and build that relationship, build that comfortability. Look, this is a population of folks that, if you think about it, have been just cast aside it's like, so there's some trust to be built.
And I'm going to say it's not a popular thing. I understand that. Listen, if you got a group of people in your neighborhood causing trouble, you want them out.
Yes.
I get it. Whether it's a mental health issue or whether it's simply a no guardians or available.
Just a lousy neighbor.
Just lousy neighbor or addictions or whatever it might be. But, as a whole, we need to start coming together and saying, okay, if there's a problem, instead of me just ignoring it or the old not in my backyard.
Right.
Maybe I need to say, if this is going to be in my backyard, what can I do to make it better? And that, let's go back to where you are now, primarily with FARR.
Yes.
It's not just about regulating these houses so that these houses protect the clients and the staff.
That's right.
Which is what you do. But you also want to make sure that it is something that is inviting and enhancing to the communities.
Exactly. And, that's the thing too. And we're starting to see, that old NIMBY sort of attitude popping up in communities again.
NIMBY is not my
backyard, which is like everybody knows that's needed. And everybody that generally complains, it's either in their house or has a family member that it's affecting. But the idea of, bringing folks together to live in recovery, when it's done right, you don't hear about it because it's just like any other neighbor. They're going to be a great neighbor.
Right.
And when things look, personalities are personalities, people are people, and neighborhoods are neighborhoods. But we have an opportunity to work with those individuals and work with it. So we're integrating and we're making sure that these things are utilized as they should be, which is this next step to bringing people back into their own families, their own lives, their own homes. And really, it's a space and time for an individual, right? When they start that recovery journey, and it's like, where are they going to go after that? So every part of it, you want to make a positive piece. And that stop, if you will, in recovery housing should be just as positive as it was when they decided that day to make a change in their life. It should be as positive as the day that they move out and get their own place. It should be. So we want to create those environments that are community centric, but most importantly, person centric and recovery person centric. So that's when you hear things out there, and look, and also getting the wording right. People are fighting against what they say sober homes up in the Treasure Coast, when really they're talking about a zoning issue with a treatment facility that wants to come in. ask questions. Let us talk about these things. You know what's going on. That's half the battle right there. I thought today was a great bridge builder out in Wellington. Not that there was anything negative at all. It was positive from 10, but you had a chance to talk about exactly what recovery residences are. And some people don't even know. It's like, don't even know. It's like, and why would you? You know,
well, you need multiple pieces.
That's
You need willingness, but then you also need information.
You got to have information.
And then you need plan of action.
Yeah.
So you need these three things, which all stops if you come in with that NIMBY attitude.
Right.
But not in my backyard. Russell Levine is with us. Hey,
Russell.
Everybody loves Russell. He was at the barbecue as well.
Absolutely. The venerable, the Reverend Russell Levine.
Reverend Russell Levine.
And well, Russell was there too because he knows we do this. Russell, we do this for the kids.
He says NIMBY was one of the main problems, but there is hope. And there is hope, and you're seeing it.
That's it. That's it. No, Russell is absolutely right. But you know, that's not just exclusive to recovery either. You know,
no, it's not. But here's the funny thing. You tell me, I find out, listen, we're having a house that's down the street from you. It's a house where people with broken legs go.
That's right.
And they learn how to use their crutches and they learn how to function and they'll heal. And some will heal fast, some will heal slow. And some of them are upset about being hurt. But I'm saying to myself, all right, they're broken.
Yep.
Of course. Yeah, not a problem.
Right.
By the way, if I say, we're going to let people with broken heads in there.
Right.
And broken heads being either a mental illness or an addiction issue, which is a broken head in a sense. It needs to be healed. All of a sudden, I'm like, wait a minute. No.
Right.
No.
Well, it's like, have you ever seen anybody try to boot out Ronald McDonald House? I think not.
No. And their representation is a pedophile clown from the 70s. No, I'm sorry. Is that wrong? Was that wrong? Maybe we just need we need a better mascot is what we need.
But by the way, hats off to Ronald McDonald, all those kids.
But you're absolutely right.
Yes.
They took something that everybody says, what, is that weird? You're going to give free housing to people and you're going to do this, you're going to do that. That's probably, and then they did it and it became like, well, oh my God, that's brilliant. It's lovely. We're so glad to be associated with that.
That's right. That's absolutely right. And I think that as people understand and get comfortable with what's happening in their own house, that your front yard is no different than your backyard. And that's where we had to do this together. And this is where, like I said, and again, all hats off to, Board of County Commissioners in Palm Beach County, but even their local, the local municipalities, city councils, et cetera. People are asking questions. Now, is it 100% perfect? No, of course not. We have a long way to go. We're always going to be doing, because guess what? People change, right? Administrations change, attitudes change. But where from where we've been is a whole different universe. What we have built is a whole different universe, and what we're going to build off of is a whole different universe.
And we're not talking about saturating a neighborhood.
No,
16 sober livings on your street. No. Just like you don't want 16 Red Lobsters on your street or 16 hotels on your street or 60 or laundromat. It's the same, but it should be in areas. How are we going to integrate people into society unless they're allowed to be in society?
Right.
You can't integrate without being there.
Yeah, it's like, we're going to take these 10,000 acres out in the middle of the middle of Palm Beach County in the sugarcane field, and we're just going to put people there. It's like, come on, this is silly. Folks want neighborhoods. They want to. It's just your neighbor. It's just your neighbor, and
Sandy's with us. Sandy is my mom.
Yeah.
So Sandy, mom is with us. Yeah. Hi, Mom.
Hi, Sandy.
Great information. Hi, guys. Russell said, wow. And apparently so wrong. I'm going to hear about that Ronald McDonald comment for a long time. It was a joke. It's called a joke. If somebody dressed as a clown cannot take a joke, they probably should have dressed as, I don't know, a clergyman or something.
Here's a funny thing. Useless trivia of the day.
Oh, we're always good for those.
Who played the original Ronald McDonald?
Willard Scott.
Well done. Yes, the Willard Scott.
Before the weight gain, obviously.
You know what's funny though? I mean, he was a young guy when he did that. He looked exactly the same.
I thought Willard Scott was a short man.
He's a big.
He's actually very tall. He's tall.
He's a big fella,
and he was heavy. Is he? I got it. I'm sorry. Is he still with us?
I don't think so. I don't remember.
Oh, we should know. Is he alive or?
Yeah. Well, it's one of us. Did he make it to 100? Because that's what he used to do. The Smuckers. Look at this beautiful lady.
Oh my God.
103 today.
Yeah, She did not get there by eating jelly, people.
No.
I'm telling you that right now.
Brought to you by Smuckers.
Should have been like a brought to you by Geritol,
Geritol.
you know? But no, Smuckers, that was always a lot of fun.
Yes, it's got to be Smuckers. It's got to be good.
Smuckers has got to be old. I would not eat 103-year-old jelly, by the way.
No,
Just not a good idea.
Yeah,
But Willard Scott was the first Ronald McDonald.
Yeah.
I don't know why I know that. My years in
What-
radio,
look,
you
we
collect
ju-
that kind of stuff.
We do. We just discuss it. It's like why I don't know Pythagorean's theorem anymore because I have stuff like Willard Scott was the original Ronald McDonald.
There was a musician that died recently, or maybe an actor. Somebody says, oh yeah, he passed away. I'm like, oh, I thought he died like 4 years ago. Have you had that?
Right.
where
Oh
it's
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I thought they were dead already.
Right.
You
Right.
know, so forgive me for not being sad because I
Yes.
was already sad once. And
Yeah,
I'm not gonna do
it's
it
not
again,
again. It is Willard. I'm not that tight, but hey, Willard, if you're still with us, God bless you, brother.
but Let us know.
Let us know.
Let us know.
Let
Maybe
us know if
you'll
you're
be on our
alive.
Smuckers portion of the
I'm
show.
hoping you make it to the 100.
So anyway, this is all what we're talking about here is we're talking about really just, let's open these conversations.
Yeah.
Let's open these conversations. And we also in a treatment end or in the recovery end, whether it's mental health or anything else, we have a responsibility to make sure that we're being responsible with what we're putting out there. That again, that's why things like FARR are necessary.
Right.
Because there was a period of time where everybody, even with the best of intentions, I want to open a house. I'm going to have people live there and it's going to generate an income and it's good, but I want them to be, and then next thing you know, you got mattresses on the floor and people, and you started with the best of intentions, but you didn't understand. You didn't understand the zoning laws. You didn't understand the insurance liabilities. You didn't understand all of this stuff.
A lot of people were doing it because it was a property move. It had nothing to do with recovery.
Yeah.
And that was part of the issue. I think anytime when people see an opportunity to better
Willard died in
themselves.
2021.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you
for googling that. I guess we could have done that, but we stay off our phones when we're in.
No,
here.
we like this is participation.
This group participation. It is absolutely.
It's our job to say things wrong. It's your job to figure it out.
Yeah.
If it's
That's what I think. Most of what we
that's
say
your job.
is
So
wrong.
as you were saying,
but I think a lot of that, and if you look at what has happened here in South Florida, and look, I'm going to say specifically in Palm Beach and Broward County with the leadership that we've had, and this comes down from, from the state's attorney's office creating a sober home task force, changing legislation, leading in legislation, looking at our zoning, looking at all the things that we did, having FARR go from one sort of level, if you will, and really getting to the next level and really on the verge of going to the next level as far as how do we build this statewide community of housing. Certification is critical, but also how we handle grievances, how we get served, how we bring folks in so they understand that it's not only just it's the law, but it's also you're plugging into that advocacy and that greater network that makes a better system. So there's so much that's happened. There's, again, so much to go, but these are all things in the last 5 years that were just unheard of, to the point where other states are looking at Florida. I know they're looking at Florida as a leader in this. And they're calling, Arizona, Georgia, California, Virginia. These are places that are saying, how are you doing this differently and how can we learn? And that's why we're here,
I mean, to speak of the elephant on the podcast here, we know Florida got a bad rep for a while.
Florida, man.
We know that. And I want
by the way,
to
it was
understand,
deserved.
a lot of what went wrong was not legal when it started, or was not illegal when it started. Right. It was a little bit of a Wild West in the entire recovery world.
Absolutely.
And the insurance companies were just paying for everything and all this other stuff was going on. Hey, Gary Wayne's with us. Hey, Gary. Good to see you, pal.
Nice.
All right. But there was a lot of Wild West stuff going on. Then the insurance company started tightening up. Then the legislators started coming in and saying, okay, we need to reel this in because it's getting on it. And they started creating rules and understanding it cut into profitability. It cut into operationals and stuff. There were people that made the transition and there are people that said, well, no, I could keep doing this. And that's where things really went south, is when they started to reel it in. I consider it a learning curve. It was a very bad learning curve for us for a while. We know that. But now I would say we're probably 95% good people out there doing the right things. There's just always going to be somebody bad. I don't care. You can have a great car dealership next door. You can have a lousy one. It happens.
I think the percentages in our our space are better than cars.
I think, yeah, I'll give that to you. Bad example. But but they're doing
Sorry,
good work.
car folks.
But where we are now, and it's just like Micah was talking about, and the point we've been trying to make here this morning, is that it's about really opening up to the community, being more transparent in what we do, and allowing the community to become more a part of what we do.
Right.
And so that we could all say, listen, we're not here just helping this person, we're helping all of us by get one person getting sober, or one person dealing with their mental health issue is going to go out into the world. They're going to affect many.
That's it.
And one person not getting the help they need is going to go out. They're also going to affect many. So we all have some responsibility to be involved. And like I said, places like FARR is a great way to protect the client, protect the staff, and protect the community as well, and create like this beautiful system of, they're moving into your neighborhood, but look at what we're really doing.
Right.
Don't think about what you've heard about in the paper or what you saw down the street. Look at what we're doing. And to hang that FARR shingle really means something, doesn't it?
It does. And you got to think about it. If you're in this for all the right reasons, and again, most people are, you got to think if you're moving into a neighborhood, it's like you want to make sure that anybody in that neighborhood, we'd be willing to come in and sit down at your kitchen table, have a cup of coffee, right? Just like you would do. Borrow a cup of sugar. I don't think anybody does that anymore. Can I borrow a cup of sugar? No one does that anymore. But the idea is that, if you have a neighborhoods look out for each other. It shouldn't be looking over your shoulder. It should be looking out for each other. And that goes both ways.
There's a comedian, Sebastian
I can never say it right. He's awesome.
It's not Mancuso, but it's Maniscalco, but it's whatever it is. There's some L's in there. He's so brilliant at the old days and the new days. The old days, the doorbell rang, everybody ran up, turn off TV, you all run to the door. We got company. They come in, you sit down, you drink some Sanka, you'd have some.
That's right.
You'd have some Entenmann cake with the thing. And why did they stop by? They were just in the neighborhood. And
That's it.
By. Nowadays, the doorbell rings, you turn off all the lights, you hide under the furniture. Who are you expecting? Is somebody supposed to come here? Sneak and peek. It's not the same world. I mean, it's almost like we're trying to go backwards against the tide that doesn't. We're not talking about a recovery community anymore.
No, we're talking about just communities.
We're talking about communities themselves. Do you know your neighbors?
Right.
Yeah. Maybe I do, but not the way I used to. I used to know everybody on the street.
Yeah.
Every parent on the street knew every kid on the street, and every parent knew each other. And they'd get together and they'd have barbecues. They'd borrow lawnmowers. They go out and compare. Oh, I got a nicer lawn than you. Those kind of things. It was just nowadays. I got people that moved in next door to me a year ago. I've said hello to them once in a year. We don't. Nobody's got the time. Nobody invests the time.
Sure.
Nobody stops by. Hey, fruit basket. Welcome to the neighborhood. It's a different world, and that's one of the reasons why things like mental illness and addiction have taken such a great hold, because it's easy to manipulate people who don't talk to each other, and these diseases manipulate people.
Well, look, these are mental health are complex issues. Addiction's a complex issue, but at the end of the day, isolation and no connection are two things that are kryptonite to your mental health. And what do drugs do? What do substances do? They make you feel the way you don't want to feel, right? Some people say that makes them feel better, but it's really just keeping that, whatever that pain point is, at bay for that temporary amount until you can figure out a way to do it again. And a lot of, there's a lot of ways these things are. We know that you can't have an explosion in mental health issues. You can't have this continuous rise in substance use without looking at the antecedents. We can't just go behavior consequence. Well, what are the antecedents? Why are folks? And there are a lot of pressures. But you got to look historically. It's not like we haven't dealt with real crazy stuff before. I think COVID was a giant wake-up call for people, because we've never had, when you look at the issues of like a global crisis, we have a lot of crisis in the world all the time. There's always wars, there's skirmishes, there's this, that. World War II was the last time that it was an all-in for everybody kind of thing. Yeah. And this is the first time in anybody's recent memory, because remember, we're losing our World War II, folks. There's not many left. They're all in their 90s now. Okay? No. So that historical memory is going away, Well, this issue, the crisis, the opioid crisis, is a period of time, and we're managing it differently. But guess what? Substances aren't going anywhere. Issues aren't going anywhere. So we have to look at what those things are and how we handle them. Be it the world, the finances we're in now, the world, housing crises, employment, all these things are all things that take away and chip away at our mental health, chip away at what keeps us protected from wanting to use things that make us feel differently, and then the chemical arms race of the stuff you're actually taking. That's, you're putting horrible hypos together.
Russell says there's fentanyl in sugar now. I mean, they're putting it in sugar. They're putting it everywhere. I would say fentanyl is number 2 on the hit list of one of the things that has taken us down this path recently. I think COVID's number 1 though. That separation, and we still have not recovered from that completely, because people developed over a 2-year period. People developed habits. Of, I got friends who still don't go back to the supermarket. They got used to ordering their food online. They don't go to the supermarket anymore. Supermarket is one of those hubs of the community. And it's like we're missing that now. We're taking we've lost the battle with connectivity. But this is not connectivity. And this computers and this, and I love our podcast. This is not connectivity. This is, we hope to get information out there, and we do all of that stuff. But the real connectivity of stopping and seeing somebody at the supermarket, and instead of that 20-minute trip turns into an hour because you stood there and talked to Judy for an hour. You know, we don't do that anymore.
And getting in trouble for it. What do you do? Where I was talking to someone. What do you mean you were talking to someone? Well, look, you're talking to someone, right? And that's, we
don't talk to people anymore. What the hell are you talking about?
Well, and if you're in this space, half of what, and look, I'll throw some kudos to Brother Russell out there who's watching right now, but that's someone right there who's saved lives because of the ability to connect and to talk.
He says the reason he brought up the fentanyl sugar, he goes,
that's why no one borrows a cup of sugar
anymore. You have a cup of sugar?
I'll have a cup of sugar. It's fentanyl.
How'd your husband die? He had a cookie. I don't know what the hell was it.
chocolate chip?
Yeah, don't get
the Toll House. No, at least don't get it from Russell. But he in humor, it actually makes sense because one of the things that's out there, it's fentanyl is not even fentanyl anymore. Fentanyl is just one. It's like it's the blanket name for everything. And I was explaining that to folks today too. There's well over 2,000, 2,500 derivatives of synthetic opioid out there, and more every single day. Yeah. One stronger than the next. It's in everything. So, you got to look at the bigger picture is that we have to go back to, how we get here, what we do for people, and helping people before they get to that point. And some people call it prevention. I've been in that space for 100 years. It's really about protection. We're protecting folks. We used to protect our neighbors. We used to protect our families differently, and our communities did well. And I think we're moving back to that. And this isn't about going backwards. It's about taking the best lessons of what we know and how do we apply it moving forward.
We're losing the war on drugs because the war on drugs is not the war we should be fighting.
No,
the war should be on apathy. Right. We need a war on apathy where we can step over somebody laying in the streets so we can get a good seat in church. The apathy where I can go in and I see somebody raising trying to get food together for like these people that bring families Thanksgiving dinners, and it's like, hey, donate some stuffing or some potatoes or something, and we go through and it's like, no, I got mine, let them get their own. And it's like that kind of thing we need to change. We need to change where if you're looking around your neighborhood and there's a need, even simple things, somebody's lawn is overgrown.
Yep.
This is how we change the world. Somebody's lawn is overgrown. Find out what's going on. Maybe it's a woman whose husband has passed away and she can't afford to have the lawn. So once in a while, go out and mow the lawn for her.
Yeah.
Take 2 hours of your time and do something. And that's what we're missing. And I think if we're going to address mental health and we're going to address addiction, we need to first address apathy. We need to first address
back to the why, right? It's always about the why.
That's
why
right.
Are we dealing? Why is this such an issue right now? Why are we in this place? I think part of that too is that we can identify those things. A lot of things used to go under the radar because we couldn't identify it or wouldn't identify it or had lack of people to identify. Okay, well, good. Now we can identify it. Now what? Now what? So that's why all these things we're talking about are so important. And mental health is really getting the spotlight it needs because I don't want to say 9 times out of 10, but like 8.9 times out of 10, most substance use issues generally have an underlying behavioral health need. You know, as we like to say, most people don't wake up on a Tuesday and say, you know, it's a great idea today. I think shooting fentanyl sounds like a plan. It generally doesn't start there.
No,
it starts from something inside that works its way outside. And, you know, so we really do need to look at that and helping people in the long term. And I think
there's other countries that have these drugs that are not killing themselves the way we are.
We're good at drugs in the United States.
One of the sad things about being in America, which I still think is one of the greatest countries in the world. I really do believe it's one of the greatest, not the greatest, but one of them.
Let's put it this way: I don't want to live anywhere else.
This is where I live. It's where I belong. But one of the things we suffer from that other countries don't is they've got a history of culture. We've got a melting pot of culture.
Mm-hmm.
So that there's not a unifying culture to tie us together. While that is great on one hand, it is one of the things we suffer from on the other. That other countries they have traditions that last longer. They have things that they do. Communities take care of each other differently because of that culture. We don't have that to fall back on. So we got to put some extra work in. Right. We got to put some work in to say, listen, you know, I've got the Irish family, I've got the Italian family, I've got the Hispanic family, I've got the British family. I got all these families in this neighborhood. Somehow we got to all come together.
This sounds like the most interesting neighborhood ever.
It is incredible. It is my neighborhood. It is my neighborhood. At least that's what they all look like to me, because as I peek at them out the window,
right,
with the shades drawn.
That's right. That's right.
They look. I don't know. They look Irish. So I don't know if I want to talk to them. It's all redhead in there somewhere.
You know, if you go think about look at New York, the original melting pot, right?
Yeah,
that's what it was. And even within the melting pot, you still had you had Little Italy, you had Hell's Kitchen, you had north of 110th Street, you had Harlem, Spanish Harlem, Black Harlem, you had Chinatown, you had I don't think I say these things anymore. My apologies, but these are real places.
No, they're real places. They still do that.
And so you had that. It was the melting pot. You had this sort of familiar, but half the reason those neighborhoods developed because people were coming in. And you had families, and you went to what you was familiar, and then from familiar, we branched out and brought it all together.
Right.
You know, and that is something that, you know, when you say we're different, it's a challenge because nowhere else in history was this experiment made, where we intentionally put cultures that 9 times out of 10 always separated themselves together on purpose for a greater good.
Yeah.
And out of that, you know, mix comes the greatest strength. And because you bring the best of everything together and you see what we can do. Now, has it been perfect? No, nothing's perfect. Of course not. But if you take a look at this particular issue, it doesn't care what flag you fly.
No.
So
this is where we got to get, you got to go to the humanity.
And you bring that all together. Hey, look, if there's something that works in your neighborhood, in your community, bring it to the table. Because it's all hands on deck, and that's what we got to. It's funny we mentioned the Amish in a barn raising, and not to forget our brothers and sisters in the Mennonites as well. Do a fabulous job as too, but you almost got to think of it that way. You almost have to think of it that way. It's like it is a barn raising. What do we got to do? We got to create neighborhoods. We got to create safety. We got to create these things. And if you look at the barbecue, what a metaphor I didn't even think about. Under that, it was hotter than blazes. That pavilion was supposed to hold 125 people. And we crammed in about 300. We had 2 big fans blowing. But if you think of the metaphor of it, we brought everybody under one roof.
We brought everybody under one roof. Every age.
Yep.
Every lifestyle.
Yep.
Every race.
Yep.
It was all under there. And it was harmony.
Yeah.
You know, they weren't singing Kumbaya. That's next year's.
No,
but
no, it won't be next year.
But
we'll sing something cooler.
But thank you. Cool. Something by Crosby, Stills and Nash. You know,
all you need is love.
But they were together and they were interacting. They had small groups that are interacting, and then they join this other group, and then it become a larger group, and then it become a larger group. It was just amazing to watch what was going on. It was amazing to watch. We have to mention before we finish, By the way, Sandy says loneliness is a new illness right now.
It is.
That is actually a good point.
It's true.
That's something that we need to work on. But we've talked about FARR and their job they're doing, and their great job with this event, their first big event. We're going to have more. It's going to be great. But let's talk about the volunteers from FARR and the people who work at FARR and what a great job they did.
I'm going to go right through the list.
These people were slaving 2 hours before anybody showed up and an hour after everybody left. And not once did any of them bitch, moan, complain, or do anything other than smile and interact with everybody.
So I'll go right through this. So
please do.
Heidi, Josh, Trish, Chris, Sabrina, Kayla, Stephanie Eddowes, who's on our PR committee, Karen Hurley's who came over even though she was sick dog and made it over. Brother Scott right here volunteering. Just the FARR team, the board members there. Michael and Michael. And if you got to be on our board, your name's going to be Michael. Just saying. Susan was there. The board from the hub out in full force. Seeing Cindy and Sharon coming out and just everybody seeing it happen in real time, and the conversations or one of our speakers, John Hewlick from the county, of course, the architect of this ROSC work here that we're doing in the county. Huge shout out to that, to stay the whole event from stem to stern in the heat, right through the band. But we had everybody pitched in. And I'll say this too. This is what gets me. First of all, seeing people smile. Done.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah.
That's all we need. And as we're going through, more people, and I'm trying to remember his name, came from our friend Mike's house, and he a veteran, and God bless him, thank him for his service. Up there walking the trash bags, cleaning up. Said, what do you need me to do? What can I? More people came up to say, Ryan, as we're doing. Yes, Ryan. Yeah. More people came up to say, hey, what can we do to help?
It was incredible. It was absolutely incredible. And to see people like Al Schwartz come out.
Who's been a part of legitimate, the real Reverend Alan Schwartz.
Yes. He actually joined us when God had shoes. I mean, he goes back a long way.
Yes.
Even though he doesn't do as much as he used to do, he still shows up when he needs to, and he showed up there.
He's a beautiful person.
It was a lot of fun to
love Alan.
And all the other people, and Debbie and Stephanie, like you said, all the people that showed up. It was just such a beautiful event. And again, can't say enough about the staff at FARR, the volunteers at FARR, and of course the board members. It was just amazing, and nobody shied away from anything.
No,
people who I thought, they're just going to be here for a few minutes, stayed the whole day,
stayed all day.
I
think part of that is because if he left the pavilion, he had to go back out in the sun.
Yeah.
So everybody's waiting for a cloud to come over. It's like, I got to make a run for it.
It was a long enough walk to the parking lot. The only one who was safe was it Chris who had that hat?
Chris, I'll tell you right now.
That hat.
Genius.
It was
umbrella hat.
An umbrella hat. You put it on and it's an umbrella. And it goes out about a foot on all sides. Yeah. So it's about 3 foot across. And he put this thing on his head, just walked around. He was in shade.
Yeah. All the time. Not to throw shade. He was the shade.
Yeah.
And I think that spot was great too, because we had the pond, and I think the pond was giving us lake effect breeze.
Just enough of a breeze that we weren't totally dying. The air was not completely
moving.
Still. Yeah. It was moving enough. We were happy. And by the way, the park, I know they had a lot of construction going on around there and stuff like that. The park is still beautiful. It's a great park up there.
We had a great time there. Thanks to Parks and Rec for helping us out. And it's really funny. I was curious. Those that were there will understand. After the shaving cream, cheese balls, and rubber chickens, again, if you were there, you get it. But I was like,
that wasn't the meal.
That wasn't the meal.
In case you're wondering,
that wasn't the meal. But the cheese balls did become a meal. I was like, I'm gonna clean this up. And I was like, be patient, just watch. I'm watching. Just birds coming from it's like north by northwest. It's like, and just came and by the time we left, gone. Probably like 700 cheese balls, crunchy cheese ball, gone. They were just
I saw that on the news, and the ornithologists are concerned. There's a flock of birds with orange on their beaks, and everywhere they land, they leave Cheeto dust behind.
Cheeto dust. What's going on? Well, it is what it is, right?
I love Cheetos, but I will not eat them because of that orange dust.
It's this move. It's this. You got to do this move. And by the way, if you're driving, you're doing it out your window. People are like, "What are you doing over this?"
Oh, no,
Cheeto
if you're
dust.
eating Cheetos when you're driving, you have no respect for your vehicle.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you don't eat Cheetos when you drive.
I drive 51,000 miles a year. I don't.
You'll eat what you want to eat.
I don't respect cars. I say I respect my car because my car deserves more respect than the respect I give it. Fix me.
Oh boy.
So, put the word in the street.
So we're right about that point when we're going to start wrapping up. Again, thank you to everybody involved. Thank you for watching the show, by the way. We're getting a lot of comments on the show, and we do appreciate it. And, we're going to be – I know we've kind of had a few weeks where we were supposed to go on. We didn't. And we're going to try to lock back into our every 2-week deal now because there's I think we're freed of a few events for now. We're a little bit more open. And
it's summer vacation.
But we're going to keep this coming to you. And if you want to be on the show, please, first of all, if you want to be on the show, if you've got a topic or something you want to share, you can contact me, Scott at SoberLifeStudios.com. You can ask about what we do and about the show. Come on in and join us live. You can join us from where you are. You don't have to come here to be on our show.
We can zoom you in.
We'll zoom you in on our podcast system. Also, something I want to mention is right there on the screen, www.farronline.org. If you go there, learn about all the work that FARR is doing, ask questions about what they're doing. Maybe there's some way you want to get involved in help in some area. Maybe you have a sober living or you are thinking about opening a sober living. Don't start with the property, start with the information. Go to FARR first, find out. Because it really sucked to get yourself into something and find out it will not work where you're at. That's what FARR is there for.
And you're going to talk to some great people. There's a number on there to call. You can also reach out with online questions too. But if you pick up the phone and give them a ring, especially with our portal right now, as we're rebuilding the whole thing, we're almost done. We keep giving them new stuff to add to it. Our team that's developing right now is doing a fantastic job. We keep making their lives. We make their lives harder, but they make our lives easier. So shout out to them because you know how it is. If we think we know what we're talking about, they know what they are talking about. And so they've been great in getting that. So soon you're going to be able to access FARR not only on your laptop, your tablet, but also right through your phone and can handle all your paperwork and all those things too. But also this is a chance too, if you want to call, give a ring, walk you right through anything you need to know. We also, if people have a grievance with where they're at or we're taking those and we take them very seriously. Every single one has value and we look at that and we want to make sure we resolve those effectively and quickly. We have an incredible team of not only our board members, but subcommittees that are looking at this. Great way to get involved. I know it doesn't sound super exciting, but I'll tell you, this is where the sausage is made and we are making changes and from top to bottom, from our local governments to our state governments and beyond there, all because we want to help one person at a time.
That's really important. And there are times when issues do come up. And maybe in the past, the issue would have been this person had a problem or this house had a problem. Let's just shut it down. You guys are going beyond that now. Instead, if there is a problem, you guys get involved and help look for solutions so that people still have a place to be and go. So this is all very important. Again, get the real information. If you own or are a part of a sober living that is not FARR approved or has not been accredited by FARR, make sure you make that phone call. Find out. I'll tell you what. You can talk to them for 10 minutes. You'll realize, boy, I should have done this a while ago. Not because of legal reasons, but because it helps you to have somebody in your corner who will give you the information that is correct, that will keep you and help you when you have problems. You need this.
And we'll literally come out and see you. I'm all over the state. I was over on the West Coast yesterday, visiting some programs over there. Some program couldn't even connect with them. We're making it happen no matter what. And and that's the way you drop the pin of influence, if you will. You have a great provider, a great house. They probably know 3 or 4 in their community that maybe aren't FARR certified because they just don't understand. There's parts of the state that don't understand. There's parts of the state that have no recovery supports at all. You go up the center of Florida. There's a center of Florida, everybody. It's not all coast. There's a lot of need, but there's not a lot of resources. So we're there to also help bring further resources in, help develop communities. because this issue does not know any boundaries, and we have a state that really is focused on making a difference in this. So we'll go anywhere.
And to bring this around to our community discussion, just think about if a sober living or a sober home without support from FARR starts to struggle and have problems, that struggle gets transferred onto the clients who are staying there. That trouble also gets transferred out to your community. So you need a supportive system so that if there is a struggle or a problem, you've got an agency that can come in and help you through that, so it doesn't become a problem for the community. It doesn't become a problem for the people. And that's really, really important as well. So get involved, find out what you can do, and find out what it can do for you. But do not go out there and think like the old days, I think I'll just open one and see what happens. Let's do it the right way. Do it with support. Do it with people that are going to guide you through. And nothing sucks more than opening doors and then doing it wrong, so you got to close them again.
That's like opening a restaurant and saying, "Oh, wait, I need to have food inspections. I need a refrigerator. I need a chef. I didn't know this.
What do you mean I need a chef?
Yeah,
I thought I was just going to microwave some shit and run it out there.
That's right. There's rules to this stuff, and there's a reason for that. We want to keep people safe, and we want to hold people to a higher standard. And this is part of a national affiliation, right down to the state level. We like to go above and beyond that. So. Again, we want to lead the way, and it starts with the folks that are living in those residences. They're there because they have made an incredible choice in their lives to do what is very difficult, and we have to be there to be supportive. So
that's a great point you make. I mean, you guys go beyond what you need to do.
Yes.
FARR is an organization that sees what they need to do. Then they think, now what should we do? And they go beyond that line, and they're constantly reaching beyond that to see how they can be of better service. And I always apprappreciate that.
That's why we're called FARR and Beyond. Well, that's why it's FARR and Beyond.
FARR and Beyond.
That's why that's why we're even talking FARBecue next year. What else can we do?
Yes.
It's going to be
Stay
big.
Tuned. FARBecue, FARFest, Far-fetched. We'll see.
It's not that far-fetched to do FARFest.
It's not far-fetched because we've proven it can be done, and we can prove it could be better.
That's right.
Everything gets better. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to all of that. I want to thank everybody. Judy says she enjoyed the show. Sorry she missed the event. Thank you, Judy. She's up in Alabama, so she couldn't come to the FARBecue, but that's the kind of place where she would come out just because she cares about her community.
That's right.
Stuff, and she does great work.
And I bet there's a barbecue or two happening in Alabama.
I'm sure it's Alabama. Isn't everything a barbecue?
Aren't all meals outside?
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm from Maine. I get to make those jokes. Trust me.
Yeah. 5-star barbecue pit right here. That's what we have.
Right.
We don't have rest. No, listen, everywhere is a great place. This is a great place, and I want to thank Mike and my friend. Always
brother, as always. Love this.
We're going to go enjoy our 3-day weekend, and I hope you do as well. If you're one of the people that has to work, nerds to you. No, I'm kidding. Thank you for doing whatever you do. It's too bad.
And let's throw a little shout out to the late, great Willard Scott.
Yes, Willard Scott. We lost him in 2021, but we didn't say
we didn't know that, so we wanted to say goodbye.
It's 3 years
thank
late,
you for everything you've done, Willard Scott.
Willard, the Smucker's moment is for you, brother. It's been so much fun.
Actually, in all seriousness, remember, this is Memorial Day. And even though it is the official kickoff of summer, this is about, who we've lost, honoring those folks and thanking them for their service. And so for those families, we think of you. We thank you.
From our friends at One Brother, One Sister, one of the sponsors of this podcast. If you'd like more information about their service to our first responders, go to onebrotheronesister.com and find out what they're doing and how you can get involved and learn more about addictions, trauma, and mental health for our first responders, giving them assistance as well in making donations. But we're going to move on. We're going to catch you guys in 2 weeks. It's a lot of traffic out there. Please take your time. Be patient. It's better to be an hour late than never arrive. So make sure that you guys just take your time out on the roads. Enjoy it. If the air in your car is working, just listen to some music.
Yeah,
exactly. Turn on the music and relax.
Turn on music, relax. Enjoy it. You're going to sit around.
Oh, boy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining us FARR and Beyond with Mike and Scott. We'll catch you next time. Bye-bye, all.
Thanks, everybody.